Hi, I'm Dan Skrzina, and welcome to the Korean Cardboard Podcast, a show that discusses sports card collecting and life and times in Asia and beyond. If you want to expand your knowledge on Asian baseball, its cardboard, and the people who collect it, stick around. Welcome to the Korean Cardboard Podcast. Today I have a friend of about, I'll say 3 or 4 years. His name is Justin Shafer. He lives in Arizona and he works for the Air Force. And before I tell you everything about him, let's have Justin tell you everybody. Well, Justin, thank you for coming on the show. This is my very first show, and I couldn't think of anybody better to have on the show.
Thanks. Thrilled to be here. I'm glad that I was the first person that you came to for your show. So I appreciate it.
No problem. I know you've been in the Air Force. How long have you been in the Air Force?
This August will actually be 21 years.
21 years. Wow. Do you get to retire soon?
I hit my 20-year mark, so that's technically when you can retire. But I re-enlisted for 2 more years. I want to try and make the rank of E7, which is a master sergeant, so that way I can stay in longer, because I really don't know what I want to do when I grow up, so I'd like to stay in the military.
Well, I don't know what I'm doing either. If I'm not sure. How old are you?
I'm 38. I'll be 39 in August.
Okay, I'm 44, and I still don't know what I want to do. I love living in Korea. I love I should say I love my job. My social life here could be better, but you know how it is as a foreigner if you don't have a lot of foreign friends.
Yeah, I definitely know that feeling.
All right, so let's get into this. For those that don't know, I met Justin maybe 4 years ago?
Yeah, something like that, around 2016.
It might be right, and I think, did we meet in Suwon at the KT Wiz game?
Yeah, KT Wiz. I don't know who they were playing. I can't remember that, but I do remember
they were playing
the
Twins. They're playing the Twins because I remember Jimenez, the big Hispanic first baseman, was playing, I believe.
Oh,
or was it
Luis
the third baseman?
Jimenez, third baseman, yeah, former Angels.
LG? He was on the Twins, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it was them because Marte. No, who was the third baseman for LG?
It was Jimenez, Luis Jimenez.
No. It was because that Jimenez was only here for 1 year, and then there was another Jimenez.
Yeah, it's there. There's 2.
Right.
Luis A. Jimenez was.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. They went by their middle initial, but I can't remember which one was Luis A. Jimenez, but
I think that was your guy.
Yeah, the Luis Jimenez that was with the LG Twins when I was there, he was a former Angels prospect.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And I believe when we first met, I remember you traded. I forgot what I gave you, but you gave me the jumbo cards.
Yeah, I had the jumbo card.
And I think I traded you a bunch of smaller cards. I don't remember what they might have been, like All-Stars from 2015 or something, if I recall correctly. And then I remember after we met up and traded those cards, we then went to the batting cage.
Oh yeah, down the third baseline.
Yeah, and I won you that KT dining board for your seat.
Yeah, I still have it.
Yeah, because I didn't need it, so I thought I'd give you it because I wasn't going to use it. All right, so for those that don't know, I did actually interview Justin previously, but I don't know who looked at it. So I'm going to ask some of the same questions, and I'll try and add some other things as well. And I know you were here stationed. You were stationed here 3 different times. Can you tell me about those?
Yeah. First time I was stationed in Korea was in 2004. I was down in the Kunsan Air Base, which is in. What's that?
Was that by Gwangju?
Yeah, so that was the closest KBO team was the Kia Tigers, who play in Gwangju. So
Did you ever get to the baseball stadium?
yes, only once.
I still have not
Because
been.
yeah, we would only do uh, the base would do tours where they would take you to the game, help you buy a ticket, something like that. And I really wasn't confident traveling that far away and going to a baseball game by myself. And then the second time I was in Korea was 2010. I was at Kunsan again, and again I was only able to go to one KBO game, which was the Kia Tigers. And then 2016 was the third time that I was stationed in Korea, and this time I was at Osan Air Base, which is in Pyeongtaek.
And Pyeongtaek, I hear about Pyeongtaek not often, but sometimes. How far? Now, were you living in Pyeongtaek?
Yeah, yeah, I lived off base in an apartment.
All right. How far? How long did it take you to get to Suwon from there?
Uh, from the time it took me to, so it was about a 5 minute walk to the train station from my apartment. That's why I chose the apartment because it was close to the train station. And then it was about a 20-minute train ride to Suwon. It was it wasn't the Suwon stop though. It was the stop before that. And then I would walk from the train station to the stadium, and that was about a 20-minute, maybe half-hour walk.
Yeah, I remember it being. I remember taking the bus from the train station, and I don't like you said. I don't know if it was a Suwon stop I got off at, but I remember having to get on the bus, and I took that to the stadium where I met up with you. All right, so you've been here three different times, and so you're a huge KT fan.
I
Uh,
am. Yes.
all right, but also obviously we could talk about Korea more later. And I know you're a huge collector of baseball memorabilia and autographs. Um, when did it all start for you?
Uh, I don't know. I guess birth. Uh,
Yeah, I know you're young.
yeah. Uh, I'm originally from Hagerstown, Maryland, and my entire life I was fortunate enough that our town had a minor league baseball team, and they still have a minor league baseball team to this day, even though they're on the list for the contraction. But uh, I probably remember going to the team was called or still is called the Hagerstown Suns, and I would say probably when I was like 5 or 6, remember it because when I would play little league, we would have like opening day, and the mascot for the Suns was like a big deal. It was a giant sun. His name was Sonny, and he would come to the game, or he would come to our opening day. He was like our celebrity. He would throw out the first pitch, and I don't know if you remember those old minor league team sets or it wasn't even the team sets. It was a release for the entire minor leagues. I want to say they were like the star cards or pro cards.
Pro, I've heard. I think I remember Pro.
Yeah, and I remember the bottom of them had like the wood grain, not like 87 tops where it's all the way around, but the bottom of it was a wood grain, and he brought those cards because the mascots had a card in the set, and he was signing them, handing them out, and me being like 5 or 6, I thought it was awesome that I
Now
had.
that you mention that, before you go on, I because you know that Samsung has some mascot cards from the Blue Edition as well as the Team Edition from 2017. I might actually do that this year and try and get him to sign it. That'd be cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know how it works with the mascots in Korea, but they might be played by the same person every year. So,
Maybe, but yeah. It's been what 3 years, 2 or 3 years, so who knows if it's the same person or not? But
yeah,
maybe I'll do it anyway.
yeah, it'd be kind of cool. Because I mean, MPB they put autograph cards of their mascots in their sets, and I think the CPBL does as well.
Okay, yeah, you just mentioned the CPBL cards for me the other day. Sorry for interrupting you. You were talking about the pro cards.
Yeah, I want to say maybe it was Excel or something like that. I would have to find it. But that's honestly how it started for me. And then I guess when I really started to get serious about it was about the time that I had my driver that I got my driver's license. So around when I was 15, when I was able to get my learner's permit and didn't have to hassle my parents to take me to the baseball games. I was able to drive, by myself. So that's when I really got into it because at that time, the Hagerstown Suns, they were a low A affiliate in the South Atlantic League, and
Did
they
the
were.
Ripkins were the Ripkins already up by the time you went?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't think Cal ever played in Hagerstown. I know he played in Charlotte. He played in Rochester. I think Billy may have done a rehab stint, but the big names for the Orioles that were there when I was going to the games was Mike Mussina, his Upper Deck rookie card. He's actually uh, in a Suns jersey. Ben McDonald, and then a more recent name that somebody might have heard of is Bryce Harper. He started his minor league career in Hagerstown, so that was pretty cool. But so once I started driving, uh, the Orioles had long since left Hagerstown, and Hagerstown went from a Double A affiliate down to Low A, and we had the Toronto Blue Jays. And the good thing about Low A is that usually that's where your first round draft picks are going to go. And first round draft picks almost always had a tops card. So since it was Toronto at that time, Vernon Wells was the big prospect.
Oh, okay.
Then my favorite baseball player in the world with the Orioles at the time, Jason Worth, he was the big prospect. He was in that set too. So he came through town. And then after we lost the Blue Jays affiliate, we became. It gets a little confusing because we had the San Francisco Giants and the New York Mets, but I can't remember which one was first. And now they're a Washington Nationals affiliate.
Well, when you said Jason Worth, I was thinking Nationals, but obviously he was playing for other teams before he went to the Nationals. The Nationals was one of his last teams, right?
Last team that he played in the majors with. 2 years ago, I got to meet him. It was I mean, it wasn't like it was the first time I met him. I met the dude so many times. I'm surprised he doesn't know who I am. But he ended up signing a minor league contract with the Mariners. And I got to go see him at extended spring training because he ended up signing so late in the season. And he
Is that
ended
where
up,
your videos from that you uploaded with him batting? Was or
yeah,
when was? Okay.
yeah. I made a couple videos and then I let my sons run around the stadium and do some filming too.
Okay. Now, when you were younger, did you just mostly just collect baseball cards, or was it other stuff as well?
No, uh, I think I was like a typical kid at the time. I would just grab a baseball and get whoever I could to sign it. Uh, and I'm sure that I got some really good players on those balls from back in the day that I just got hundreds of players on because like the Yankees were stacked back in the day. Derek Jeter came through my hometown. Mariano Rivera, uh, Josh Hamilton, Todd Helton, Chipper Jones. All those guys came through the South Atlantic League. And I'm sure that I got a couple of them on a baseball with a bunch of other guys somewhere else. But so I would collect those, and then don't know what happened to them. And those little souvenir bats,
Okay.
uh,
Yeah, the mini ones, yeah.
yeah, the mini bats, I would get those signed. And then once I got older, I started doing the team set cards. because not everybody on the team had a baseball card. So a better way to, uh, I guess, combat that and be able to get everybody's autograph was buying team sets. And then I would also get the top prospect sets and try and get them signed as well.
Now I know that most people around our age, they're on Twitter. There's so many people that I've come across and met at the at the convention last year. Uh, Basically, did you collect cards until you were maybe in high school and stopped and came back to the um, how did how did it work?
Actually, my dad got me into the baseball cards. It's weird. So my dad got me into baseball cards, and I kind of got him into the autographs, if that makes any sense. But I think I was kind of like the typical '80s kid when it came to sports cards, because I would collect everything then: hockey, basketball, football. Uh, we had a I honestly don't know what kind of store it was. It was like a party type store, and you could buy things in bulk, but you could also buy boxes of baseball cards, like just boxes and boxes and boxes of baseball cards. It was almost like a like a distribution center, and I would go there with them. And at the time, it was kind of expensive, like 88 tops, $5 for a box back in the day when you got something like 24 packs in a box and 12 cards per pack. And then we would buy them, and then back then it was almost like every weekend there was a baseball or a sports card show somewhere. So I would set up a little table and we would sell baseball cards. And that's basically how I got into cards. And then once the hobby kind of died down, middle school, I got into comic books. And then once I started driving, is when I got back into baseball cards because, like I said, I was able to go. I was able to go out on my own, and where I lived in Maryland, within I think a 4-hour driving radius, there was 5 or 6 minor league baseball teams that I could go to. So that's when I got more into when I started getting more into the baseball cards. I started getting these guys that I was like, well, I want to try and get this guy's autograph. Go find the team's schedule and see when they're playing somewhere close, and would go there to try and I guess hunt down autographs.
Was it how was it getting autographs back then?
A lot easier. A lot
Is it,
easier.
it's like getting KBO now?
Uh,
Or not that easy?
well, it was easy as the KBO. The players weren't as generous, and there was a lot less fans. It's not like the mobs that you got to fight in the KBO.
What? I'm sorry. I was thinking. I was saying it was easy when you're at spring training going to KBO games.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh,
Was it like that, or not even that easy?
no, God no. They even back then you couldn't get that kind of access that in spring camp. No, no.
Right. Okay. Let's see here. So, what I wanted to ask you was, you've been in Korea 3 different times,
Yeah.
and I know previously you mentioned that you would consider coming back here again, or you wanted to. So I don't know if that's still something you would want to try. But can you tell me, for the 3 times that you were here, twice in Kunsan and once in yeah, what did you think about your experience here in Korea?
Uh, each time that I was there, it got better, and I fell in love with the country more. I would totally go back. I've given it serious thought about once I retire from the military, uh, trying to take the route that you have and become a English teacher there.
Yeah,
Uh,
I definitely
but
think you'd be
yeah,
able to do that. Yeah.
I would definitely go back to Korea in a heartbeat. I love it there.
All right. So we had that question, and then I wanted to ask you. All right, what did you like the most and least about your time here in Korea?
Uh, least I wasn't able to go to as many baseball games as I wanted to. Uh,
How many times? And let me interrupt you. How many times did you go to other stadiums in Seoul other than Suwon, which is obviously southeast of Seoul? It's actually Suwon's actually. It felt like it took a while to get there from Seoul to get to Suwon. It seemed like it took forever.
yeah,
Maybe
well,
45 minutes to an hour, or maybe longer. I'm not sure.
they ended up opening up a SRT station one stop south of me, and that cut my trip. That cut like an hour off of my trip, even though I was going away from Seoul just to hop on the SRT. But that only cost me uh, 7,500 won, and it would drop me off on the west side of Seoul, and then I would only have to take like two trains to get to Jamsil. So instead of an hour and a half train ride
Mhm.
with multiple transfers and everything, I would just do the SRT. But yeah, the thing that I didn't like was probably that I wasn't able to go to as many baseball games as I wanted, and it's not that I didn't like it, but the language barrier was really, really difficult for me because I'd made Korean friends and they tried their hardest to speak to me in English, and but I wasn't able to do to kind of I turned the favor with them because my Korean is absolutely horrible, and I kind of have that Maryland accent, and I stretch out my vowels a lot, and it would make me butcher the words, and they would not understand what I was trying to say. Uh, so yeah, that kind of sucked because the a lot of times when I was getting autographs from the players, they would just be saying all kinds of stuff to me, and I had no idea what they were talking about.
Okay. All right. So not going to enough games and obviously the language barrier, which I still have a problem with. I mean, I've been here I'm going on 7 years, and I mean, just like studying and retaining information has always been a problem for me. I could study vocabulary, I could study verbs, but oftentimes I just can't remember it, and it's so frustrating, and it just makes me not want to try.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing that I probably could have made a ton more friends there, but with Koreans being shy and not wanting to embarrass themselves,
And not talking, right?
yeah, and they don't like to put themselves out there, and me not being able to say anything to them, that
Yeah.
probably would have made my time there a little bit more enjoyable because I would have had more Korean friends.
Yeah.
But
All right. So those two things are your worst. What did you like most about living here?
Yagu, baseball,
Yahoo. Yahoo
yeah,
baseball.
yeah, yeah. That and another word that I learned in Korea, chimek.
Oh, of course. Who doesn't like Chimek?
Yeah, the chicken
Chimek,
and beer.
it's chicken and beer, people. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Chimek, Yahoo. So what do you think about just Korean food in general?
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. And that's one of the things from my first time in Korea that I loved was the food.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my favorite might be sundae gukbap, which is basically the cow intestines and rice. So that's
gotcha. I
and
don't think I've tried that, and if I did, I didn't know I was eating it.
yeah, I think most Americans you probably wouldn't want to tell them what you're eating because
Yeah,
they won't think about eating that back home.
yeah.
Um,
There's a funny story. Joke ball.
huh?
I didn't know what it was until probably 2 weeks before I left Korea. I just thought I was chowing down on some duck.
Yeah. Well, I guess I suppose it does taste like duck or looks like duck. Yeah.
Yeah, it does because it has that brownish tint to it. And then they told me, and I kind of got a little grossed out, and then I went and ordered some more anyway and ate it because it's delicious.
No,
So,
it is delicious. Oh my God, yes. I haven't had that in a while though. There are times when I go like weeks or months without having a certain type of Korean food, but then I'll go out with my teachers for lunch, and then we'll have something that I haven't had before, even though I've been here so long. Um, okay, so the food, baseball, what you call it? Food, baseball, and you said no, you said Chimek. Okay, so you
yeah.
covered in baseball, all right? Were you able to travel at all when you were out here?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't travel anywhere that wasn't really baseball related. Sometimes I would go up to Seoul and meet up with my Korean friends, and they would actually show me around some of the historical sites. So that was pretty cool. But I went up to Munhawk a couple times. That's where SK plays, right?
Uh, yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
SK Happy Dream Park or whatever they call it.
Actually, I
I,
loved all the stadiums I've been to.
yeah, I went up there a few times, and then of course Suwon, Jamshil. I went there a ton, and then the Sky Dome. I went there a handful of times.
Was that the original Sky Dome? Right, the first,
Gochok.
not, yeah, yeah. I never made it there.
Oh, really? You're not
Yeah.
missing much. It kind of sucks.
Well, I thought Gochuk isn't that great either. Did you make it to Gochuk?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was very spacious. It was very quiet for a baseball game, even though there were people in the stands. I didn't really. I mean, it's a nice stadium and it's good to play there when it's raining, but I wasn't a big fan of the dome.
Yeah, I just didn't like it.
I wish you got a chance to go to Daegu Samsung Stadium, the new one.
Yeah, it looks awesome. I'd
And
like that one and the Dinos new stadium.
yeah, I haven't been. I want to go. I didn't go there last year. I do want to go there this year, though. All right. Um, sorry. Oh yeah, here we go. We're going to talk about KT. Um, How did you become a fan, and how did you become a superstar there?
I don't know if I'd consider myself a superstar, but so originally I went to Korea as a free agent.
Yeah.
I didn't know what team I was going to cheer for. I believe it or not, I don't know if I ever told you the story, but I was leaning toward being a Doosan fan
Oh, thank God you're not. Okay.
because, as you can see, I'm a
Sorry, George.
Orioles
Yes.
fan.
Right.
So me being an Orioles fan, that year was when Park Byung Ho and Kim Hyun Soo went to MLB, and Kim Hyun Soo signed with the Orioles. So I was like, okay, well he came from Doosan, and
Mhm.
now he's with the Orioles, so I might as well be a Doosan fan. So I went to a Doosan game, and I'm kind of like a giant in Korea, and none of their jerseys fit me. So I think the biggest size they have is 110,
Yeah, I think
and
yeah.
in Korean sizes, I'm 120, which I think is a Korean 4X.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
And even then, they're like really short on me. Like I have to make sure that I'm in shape to be able to button up a jersey and wear it if it's a Korean 4X, because or else it's going to look really tiny. But so I went to a KT Wiz game, and they actually had jerseys in my size, 120.
And that's why
So
you became a fan.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was the first step. I was like, okay, I got a team, and they were. I kind of like the underdogs too. I think that was maybe their second year in the KBO.
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah.
Yeah. So I liked it that they didn't have a lot of fans, and that people just expected them to suck honestly, because I mean, I think last year was the first year that they finished
Above.
at above 500.
Yeah. Last year they
So,
weren't too bad.
yeah. So I had my team, and of course I had my jersey. So now I had to figure out what player I was going to cheer for, right?
Right.
And I asked the girls. There was two girls working in the team store, and they actually spoke decent English. And I asked them, they have the wall of the press on numbers with the names and everything. And I didn't know anything about Korean baseball, other than what I had found on your blog. So that, as far as finding out anything about the players, was through you. So I asked the two girls that were working there whose jersey. I think I said who's good,
Yeah, you mentioned it. Yeah.
whose jersey should I get, and they pointed to Marte, Andy Marte, who passed away a few years ago. And I was like, no, because I knew who Andy Marte was. He's one of those guys that actually came through my hometown when he was in the Braves system. He was a huge prospect back in the day. And I didn't want, so I explained to him I didn't want, a foreigner. I wanted a Korean. So they did that thing where they giggle and cover their mouth. And they told me about Lee Dae-hyung, Supersonic, number 53. So I was like, all right. I was like, screw it. Let's throw it on the back of the jersey and let's go. So
Now, was that the white one or the black one?
no, the black one. That's the black one.
Okay, that's a
The
good
the
one.
white one is the game used jersey.
Okay.
And
That's a foreshadow. Go ahead.
yeah. Stay tuned for part 3.
Right.
But, so I have this dude's jersey on, right? And this wasn't my first game there. My first couple games I went was during their spring camp, which, if a lot of people don't know, the KBO has like 3 spring trainings. They'll come to the States for a few weeks, then they may go to a different location in the States, and then they'll go back to Korea for 2 weeks and have practice games there.
At
But
their home stadium.
yeah. But it was way too cold for me to wear a short sleeve jersey. So I had gotten the jersey, and then I remember one of my buddies that I worked with came with me, and we would always sit out in the outfield because I was still kind of getting used to the KBO, and
Cheering section could be scary.
it is. It's very intimidating, and I was not ready yet. I
Right.
didn't even have thunder sticks yet.
Right.
So
I don't have any laying around here. I thought I had some. Okay.
So me and a few of my buddies going. Of course, we've had some chimek, and Lee Dae-hyung runs out onto the field, and we're like, "Who the hell is this dude?" Because I kid you not,
The
his
gold
shoe,
glove or the gold shoes?
yeah, it looked like somebody had dipped his shoes in gold, and his glove was dipped in gold. Like,
You would think he would be such a prima donna, right?
yeah. I was like, all right. He seems a little bit too good looking to be a baseball player, and he definitely loves himself. And then, so I see him in the field. Then he gets up to bat, and he has that weird ass batting stance, and I'm like, what did these girls do to me? So, because I'm wearing this dude's jersey, and then I think that game he went 0 for 4 or something like that. Yeah, but after watching him, I learned to fall in love with his game, and that's basically how I became a Lee Dae-hyung fan.
All right, so that's how you became an Lee Dae-hyung fan. Now, before we keep going on Lee Dae-hyung, when did you start going to stadiums or hotels? When did that all start for you to get cards signed? Not
Jam.
long.
Hmm?
I'm sorry.
Oh, it actually happened when I went to a jam show.
Okay,
It was
so was it the first year you were there? I'm sorry, the first time you were in Suwon?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Uh,
I'm sorry. The first time you were stationed in Pyeongtaek, that's when you
yeah,
started autographs. Okay.
yeah. I had never gotten autographs before because this predated the mykbo.net days. So trying to find a roster of who was playing there was pretty much impossible. I do remember the second time I was in Korea when I went to Kia Tigers that Jay So was pitching
Yes.
for Kia then, the former New York Met.
I
And
just traded his card to a TCDB user for a Burley card.
good trade.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm also, so I didn't initially start getting autographs when I was going to the KT games in Suwon because, like I said, I had known about your blog, but I had no idea where to find the cards. Uh, and one day I was on a train going somewhere, and what was it? Home Plus. You know how they kind of have that like glass triangle, and I spotted it out the window. So I was like, I'm gonna try that. So I was in the middle of nowhere in Korea, got off at that stop, backtrack to the Home Plus, and actually found two or three boxes on the bottom shelf, uh, like buried under some Bakugan or
Was it
Pokemon.
2014?
Yeah, it was it was the set where they had the gold embossed signature.
Is the Superstar card, you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And
So you got one of those per box, and
in the
then
big
one.
star, the silver lettering and the name, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that was 2014 season one.
yeah. So I found a couple of those, right, and that kind of got me started because I,
That's exactly how I started too.
yeah.
That
So
year.
I started going through the cards and piecing together the rosters, and then figuring out how the KBO worked with players changing teams so much and changing numbers like almost every year, which drives me absolutely insane how often certain players change their numbers. OJ Juan, looking at you. But so I would start getting autographs at uh, and in Suwon, and these kids would help me out because I don't know if you've noticed the like autograph collecting culture in Korea. It's usually young kids, like 10 to 13-year olds, and then you have a handful of adults sprinkled in there. But
Now, are you referring to like the kids that we ran into that one time when I was with you?
yeah, yeah,
That know us from that Facebook group they have?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I would get those cards signed, but like I said, I only found two or three boxes. I can't remember. And plus, the bad thing about that year, well, not bad for the Korean people, but bad for me, there was zero English on those cards. So I
True.
had a crash course in learning Korean and try to translate everything. And so I started doing that. And then on Facebook, I found who made the superstar cards?
The entry of Jewel.
Yeah. So Intrigue. I found their Facebook page and started following that, and then
Yeah, the Superstar group. Yeah.
yeah. So they put a post on Facebook that they were going to be at Jam Chill on this certain day outside of Subway Stop 6, and that's when they had those Doosan Bears and Samsung Lions uh, team sets. Remember where you got the one clear card and
The
then
triangle
the
box. Yeah.
set, yeah, and the poster.
Yeah. Do I have it here? No,
Which
go ahead,
I
keep
don't
talking.
know what I did with those posters.
I still have all the ones you gave me from that guy from Daichi Star.
Yeah.
When did you get those jumbo cards at the same type of setting?
Yeah, they gave me the jumbo cards. It was the people from the Superstar.
Was it the
Uh,
same trip?
uh, what do you mean?
Was it at Jam Show where they gave you those cards?
Yeah, Jam Chill, and that was the day that I ended up meeting Matthew Kerr for the first time. So we were there.
Okay.
I ended up buying, uh, I don't know, I spent like 300,000 won on
Uh,
baseball cards there, dude. Like they thought I was a rock star.
$280 around there. Okay.
Yeah, because I had hit them up earlier, like, hey, I'm coming up here. Are you going to have all your previous releases? And they said, yeah, they would. So went up there, bought all of those that I could afford, and then they had a big box of just commons. They had opened up boxes and boxes and boxes of cards, took all the hits, everything else they threw in the box, and they're like, take whatever you want.
Now I'm
So
sorry. Was this a year or two later?
what? No, this was all in 2016.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was thinking 2014. No, okay, so now we're in 2016. Okay,
Yeah,
so sorry. So they had boxes of like 2015 season one, season two, and 2014 1, 2, and 3.
yeah. Because the only thing I could find at Home Plus was the 2014 cards.
Yeah, that's all I ever saw there. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so at 2016, so they had did they have blue and gold editions there too?
Honestly, can't remember.
Okay, yeah, we said they just had a lot of different prior
Yeah.
releases.
Yeah, I bought like three of everything.
Wow. Okay, yeah, because you didn't know when you're going to see it again, right?
No, no. So yeah, I ended up meeting Matthew Kerr there. We bought a bunch of cards, had some beer, ripped them open, and then that gave me like my stockpile of cards, right? So then I started going to more Doosan and LG games, and that's when I met my friends Edmund and Charlie, and they would help me out with getting autographs, and they spoke really good English. Yeah, that is
There, this is
awesome.
EJ Young, people. This is a Claire card from the first um, baseball's best players set. Yeah, so this is his favorite player, and he and Justin has his card signed on the back, right?
Yeah, he signed it on the back, which I
Yeah,
can tell you the story about that too, but I don't have
yeah. I
probably
did want to get
enough.
back to EJ Young because I know because you guys are best
But
friends now.
yeah, he just retired too. I was kind of
Yeah, I
sad.
was really disappointed he didn't get to play the last 2 or 3 years.
No, and he didn't consult me before he retired. So, but so I was going to Jam Chill a lot more because, like I said, LG and Doosan, both teams share the stadium, so you were almost guaranteed a game almost every night. Whereas Suwon, if the Wiz are on the road, then you got nowhere to go. So I stood out in Korea. I was the only 6'2" white dude getting autographs, and so people
I
were
did witness this like 2 times, people. It's very amusing.
yeah. So people are I'm kind of like a freak show there. Like
Yeah, I guess you
people
are.
are
Yeah, you are. You were.
they I should have charged them to stare at me because it
Yes.
happened a lot.
I
So
mean, they scared me, but you being that so much taller, Yeah.
yeah. So I would be getting autographs, and I guess my buddies Charlie and Edmund finally got enough courage to actually talk to me. And because before I'd always talk to little kids, because they wanted to practice their English. And I remember the first day this will sound weird, but when they invited me to the hotel, it was like I was part of their group, which uh, you can go to the hotels in Korea, the team hotels, and get autographs. And it's not like they make it a secret that the team's staying there. They'll put up banners that says Hotel Riviera welcomes the KT Wiz official team hotel, and then the buses are painted with the team logos. Like the buses are awesome. They look
Oh,
like
they stick out. Yeah, you definitely know who's on that bus.
it's like a NASCAR hauler. Like they don't hide who's in the bus, and they're parked right out in front of the hotel, so you know what's going on. And that's a good way to get autographs. So the first time they invited me there, and I got to ride in a Korean dude's car, I didn't have to worry about getting a train, a cab. or a bus. I was like, all right, I'm solid.
I could do
And
this. Yeah,
yeah, and
I could
and to
do it.
this day, I still talk to my buddies Edmund and Charlie. We send each other mail all the time and still trade.